guys, welcome to the two Nobheads, aka the Nobcast. Today we're going to be trying to evaluate or analyze 4 performances.
Deciding what makes a good performance.
Yeah, so the first one is going to be Hans Landa, played by Christopher Waltz in Inglourious Basterds.
Now, my job dictates that I must have my men enter your home and conduct a thorough search before I can officially cross your family's name off my list. And if there are any irregularities to be found, rest assured there will be. That is unless you have something to tell me that makes the conducting of a search unnecessary. I might add also that any information that makes the performance of my duty easier will not be met with punishment. Actually, quite the contrary. It will be met with reward. And that reward will be your family will cease to be harassed in any way by the German military during the rest of our occupation of your country. You're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Yes.
You're sheltering them underneath your floorboards, aren't you?
Yes.
Point out to me the areas where they're hiding. Since I haven't heard any disturbance, I assume while they're listening, they don't speak English.
Yes.
I'm going to switch back to French now, and I want you to follow my masquerade as hat clear.
Yes.
Monsieur Lapadite, je vous remercie
Pour le lait et pour votre hospitalité. Il me semble que nous en avons terminé. Ah, mesdames, je vous remercie pour le temps que vous m'avez consacré. Nous n'ennuierons pas votre famille plus longtemps. Donc, monsieur, mesdemoiselles, je prends congé de vous et je vous dis adieu.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the performance? I mean, I think it was very good how you couldn't really tell by his face what he was feeling. It was almost as if he was hiding his anger. And he was very manipulative, of course, because of that as well. You can see the fear on like the farmer's face as well because of that.
He really manipulated his feelings by saying, "You're not going to get in trouble for this."
Yeah.
No, well, the farmer's known full well. He definitely is.
And also, the way his eye contact was always on the farmer as
Yeah.
well. It's almost as if it was impossible for the farmer to lie
Yeah.
because of that. It's like he could see through the farmer's eyes. So that was a very good performance. Obviously, the French accent was good as well.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I'm not an expert, but yeah.
You get worse accents out there.
Yeah. Yeah, much worse. Okay, now we're gonna go to Heath Ledger's performance as Joker in The Dark Knight.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. You can't feel the neck. See?
You wanted me. Here I am.
I wanted to see what you'd do. And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Where's Dent?
Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
And why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. You complete me.
You're garbage. You kills for money.
Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Even if you'd like to be. To them, you're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. When they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper. See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. You have all these rules, and you think they'll save you.
Who's in control? I have one rule.
Oh, then that's the rule you'll have to break to know the truth.
Which is?
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight, you're gonna break your one rule.
I'm considering it.
No, there's only minutes left, so you're gonna have to play my little game if you want to save one of them.
Yeah.
You know, for a while there, I thought you really were a dent. The way you threw yourself after her. Look at you go. What does Harvey know about you and his little bunny? Where are they? Killing is making a choice. Where are they?
Choose between one life or the other. Your friend, the district attorney, or his blushing bride to be. You have nothing to threaten me with, nothing to do with all your strength. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you where they are. Both of them. And that's the point. You'll have to choose. He's at 250 52nd Street, and she's on Avenue X. That's Cicero.
Okay, so what do you think about his performance?
I really like how manic it is.
Yeah.
You know, like everything from the detail of his makeup.
He always has this
Yeah.
facial tick where he like licks his lips as well. I think that's very good.
Isn't that was to keep the prosthetics on, was it not?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I heard that was to keep the prosthetics on, and it just made it into the final movie.
Alright, I mean, I like it anyway, I think.
Mm.
It adds to his character.
It does.
It's also the laugh as well. It's almost
Yeah.
as if he took pleasure in the pain
Yeah.
and in Batman's anger, and like, because he plays with Batman. It's not
Yeah.
like what he's doing doesn't even have any greater purpose than just to cause pain and suffering. I think that's what all he wants to. I think he even says something about that he wants to watch the world burn or something. I think he says that at some point.
Wasn't that Alfred talking about him? Because he goes on to tell the story about when
Alright, yeah, that might be.
something in another country. Then Alfred just goes on to say some men just
Yeah,
wanna watch
that's
the
the
world
one.
burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get that sense from that Joker. Like, and I like other parts of the film where he's like telling you his backstory.
Yeah, and it's always different.
It's always
about-
different. Because like in the comics, he's always said if he wants a backstory, he wants it to be more multiple choice.
Yeah, it kind of shows you
Yeah.
his unhinged
Yeah.
mentality and everything. It's a shame also that he died before
Yeah.
he received the Oscar. But yeah, I think that interpretation of a Joker is much different than the one we're going to see by Joaquin Phoenix.
We're gonna take a look at Robert Englund's performance as Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors.
Can I ask you something? Certainly.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
I was wondering, do you know how they recorded this? Because I'm just wondering how it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I think that must have been about 87.
All right. I'm just wondering how they would have put his face there, because they obviously didn't have the best equipment and
Most
technology.
likely would have been like some sort of like the TV thing would be against the wall and you'd have his head
Yeah,
at the
probably.
top.
And that was just made of like some.
Yeah, because I know there is a scene from the first Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984 where he appears like pushing himself through a wall.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, and I know how they done that. There was
How?
a hole in that wall and they covered it with spandex.
All right, so
And-
it's stretched.
Yeah, and they physically just pushed the actor pushed themselves through it.
All right, yeah, that makes sense, because back then they had to make use of their practical skills, because technology wasn't really there yet.
Which, honestly, in most cases, is better.
Yeah, I think so. It's also what Christopher Nolan promotes as well. He always tries not to use CGI.
Because, like, in the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, they done the same wall effect but with CGI, and it looked far worse.
Yeah, it's also harder, I think, to use CGI.
Yeah.
It's much easier to muck it up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like, you're trying to make it look real
yeah,
with a computer.
yeah.
There's
That's
only
always-
certain situations in which it works.
And you obviously need a big budget if you're going to make it look very real. I mean, if you look at all the Marvel movies right now,
Yeah.
they have a big budget and it does look great. But it's not a good experience for the actors, I think, because they're in a building with just green screen.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have some scenery, but it's only like goes so far, and I don't think it's very like it would be hard for me to act in a room
Yeah.
like that.
Because, I mean, if you look at the Star Wars prequel trilogy, that was, like, minimal practical sets.
Was it?
Yeah, it was mostly just green screens and that. And for the likes of budget, a horror movie like this, even nowadays, that wouldn't get a massive budget.
Yeah, usually they get like 20
Yeah.
million from what I've seen, like Pet Cemetery and all them. They get usually 20 million, but yeah, nothing as close as Marvel. How much would those Marvel get? Isn't it like
That's gonna be
like
over the $100.
yeah, I
point.
remember seeing like 300. Was it? Are you searching up right now?
I'm actually getting up a. I'll get this up now.
Yeah, don't
The
worry.
budget for Endgame was $356 million.
Yeah, so that tells you the difference, obviously.
Yeah, and then for
But-
instance, I'll get
The thing is that they know they're going to make a lot of money from a Marvel movie. With
Yeah.
horror, it's not as
Yeah.
easy as that.
like for Halloween, the horror movie, they had $325,000.
For the first one.
Yeah,
But that's also, money-wise, that would be different now, wouldn't it? But still, that's
and
not
that
a lot.
that became one of the most successful low budget horror movies ever.
Yeah. It's, yeah, but Marvel really,
Yeah,
I like Marvel, but what Martin Scorsese said that watching a Marvel movie is sort of like going to a theme park nowadays, because
Yeah.
they just go there to be entertained. Like, as much as we like them,
yeah,
you know, there's no a deeper meaning to them, unfortunately. It's really just there for all the good looking scenery and effects.
and to be honest, even at that, I wasn't really interested in seeing the newest Marvel film,
Which one was-
Shang-Chi.
And yeah, I didn't see that,
To be
but
honest,
it's not like one of the top characters, let's be
No.
honest.
but like I think that's more of the mixture with the global pandemic thing we just went through. I feel really nervous about going to cinemas and that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I watched James Bond. I think it was like a week ago, and yeah, there aren't a lot of movies in cinemas playing because of COVID.
Yeah,
Most of the movies are now coming out on Netflix.
yeah.
Like
And Hulu and that,
yeah.
which sucks for us in the UK if stuff's coming out on Hulu.
Oh yeah,
'cause
isn't
we
that
don't get
just
that.
is that like America?
Yeah, there's Hulu and Peacock, which is the
Isn't there like
NBC,
HBO or something as
and
well?
that
Yeah, that sucks. Because we can't get access to all of the great movies and series that's
Yeah.
coming out. Oh, by the way, did you watch Squid Game?
I actually haven't.
On the last episode, yeah, it's really good actually. Because it's something else. Like all the American series are kind of merging right now, and they all kind of
Yeah.
seem nothing special, but if you look at something that's foreign, because that's
Yeah.
Korean, it'll give you a complete different perspective as well. So I think that's very interesting. Yeah, I'm thinking of the good movies that I've watched recently. That have come on Netflix. Have you watched anything recently?
Like recent films have come out on Netflix, not
Or
really.
during the pandemic when there was no cinema? I mean,
On Netflix, I'm not too sure, to be honest. If it came out during the pandemic, but I really liked,
no. I can just edit that.
The babysitter movies on Netflix. Did you see them?
No, I didn't see them.
The second one,
Oh wait, I think I
came
see
out
the
last
first
year.
one. Wait, is that the comedy kind of?
Yeah, the
dark
comedy horror thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen
The
the first
second
one.
one came out last year, I think, and I really enjoyed that.
I think I might have seen the second one, but I
Yeah.
don't remember. I've yeah, but some big movies were coming out on Netflix because
Yeah.
of the pandemic. Like
I
you
mean-
get Irishman
Yeah,
and you get all the other movies
Zack
now.
Snyder's Justice League.
Is that on Netflix?
It wasn't on Netflix, but it was on Now TV.
Alright, yeah, but that's like streaming like streaming platforms. Yeah, a lot of good movies are coming out.
Yeah.
now. See, as much as I like that, I still think that when you go to a cinema, it's a bit of a different experience. Have you ever like seen a movie in a cinema and then you seen it on your TV
Yeah.
and it was a complete different? Obviously, it's the atmosphere is different. You know, you can hear it much louder and it's on a better quality
Yeah.
equipment. Yeah,
But
so,
like, say there's like a big twist. Like, I'd love to go back and see what Empire Strikes Back would have been like in cinema,
yeah.
with the big reveal that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's
Because you
dad.
could probably hear the surprise
Yeah.
in other people, right?
Yeah, like the videos you see of people in America cheering at the end of Endgame.
Oh yeah, but Endgame had so many people. And
Yeah, but
I've seen it, yeah.
When I went to see Endgame in cinema, all I could hear from like the halfway point of the film was just one person sniffling the whole time.
Well, was it not full?
It was,
Oh,
But-
jeez, that's not the very best experience.
but like there was one person like down to my left that was just sniffling the whole time.
When I went to watch the James Bond, I was with my
Mm.
brother. This woman in front of us was just disappointed at us for some reason. Every time we sat down and went to the toilet, she just looked behind us like we were disgraceful. But that was pretty funny.
Oh, that's the worst thing when you need the
Yeah.
toilet, but you're like in the middle of the row.
Well, to be honest, I was lucky. I was at the
Yeah.
side, but I know what you mean. And then you try and hold it in,
Yeah.
or you don't want to miss something.
You don't want to miss the film,
yeah.
no. Because
So you
cinemas
try and-
are expensive these days.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was out.
And you can't pause them, obviously.
Yeah, yesterday I was out, and we had a lot of time to kill, so I looked at the times for cinemas. Because we were in Dunfermline, we could have went to the Odeon.
Yeah.
There was No Time to Die, Adam's Family 2,
Those are like the only things playing.
and Shang-Chi. But
Yeah.
then I thought, it's the Odeon, I'm not going to even be able to afford tickets.
How much is that? Because the one in Leven, the Kino Leven, that's where I went and it's
Yeah.
much cheaper. How
I
much
think
is
the
that?
one in Leven's like $5.50 for a ticket.
Yeah, but how much is the one in
Odeon,
Dunfermline?
I think it's like
I haven't been there in
a
years.
tenner for a ticket or something like that.
And
It's
it-
really expensive.
And it's more expensive if you're an adult as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I mean, I like the Leven Kino, but obviously...
I haven't been since before it closed to get its second screen.
Oh, you haven't been there since
No.
that? Alright. Yeah. I don't know if I've been in the second one. I think I've still been in the first one, but obviously... I like the couches, they're pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to get to Joker by Joaquin Phoenix, and we're going to now try and compare his performance with Heath Ledger's and also see what makes it special.
Killed those 3 Wall Street guys.
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
There's no punchline. It's not a joke.
I was just going to say about this scene, I think see how there's this guy in the background that wants to signal for the show
Yeah.
to end. I think that was a very powerful scene as well, because it's like, from that moment on, you know that something bad is going to
Yeah.
happen. I mean, the audience in the background are booing and are obviously gasping and everything.
But to be fair,
And then there's,
Arthur's intention was never to go and kill Murray.
yeah,
He
it
was going
wasn't.
to kill himself.
Was
on
he?
TV. Yeah, but there's
Wait, really? Was he gonna kill
yeah,
himself?
there's a point in it where he decides to change and shoot Murray.
Because I remember when seeing the scene before that where he's kind of practicing how he's gonna come
Yeah.
onto the stage, and he take a gun and point it at his...
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like one thing I've noticed, it's the same as Heath Ledger's. He takes pleasure in all of the the pain and suffering he's inflicting.
But they're very different as
Yeah.
well, because I think that, like, you know how some people criticize the film because apparently it glorified...
Yeah, and
I don't think it really
it
did,
didn't.
because it's just show, like, there are many cases like this where a
Yeah.
person is insane, doesn't get help, and end up doing something stupid. And just because they're showing how bad it can turn out doesn't mean they're saying, oh, every time a mental person is ill, he'll go and kill
and
someone.
it's not saying, oh yes, just go out and do this, like people tried to claim it was.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Just because they're showing the dark side of mental health doesn't mean that they're trying to
Exactly.
say or insinuate that everyone's going to end like this. I mean, and that did happen. And besides, why would you... I mean, there are many films, I think, where a person has a mental health and they end up really improving their life. There are a lot of films like that, but we're talking about Joker here, you know. He's not going to improve and then get a job and have a family, because that's not what the Joker character is. The whole point of him is that he turned evil.
It really depends on the comic, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. But this
then,
interpretation...
in the end, he always goes back to being evil.
Yeah.
And like...
So what I really like about this interpretation is that it's not dependent on Batman.
No.
Like, Batman did not have to be there, and Joker is still living, obviously.
Yeah, like Bruce Wayne's in it, in the Wayne family. But
Oh, yeah,
Batman isn't there.
yeah.
He doesn't need to be.
Yeah, because I think that's the main difference, because as Heath Ledger said, he said, like, you complete me or something.
Yeah.
So the interpretation of Heath Ledger's Joker needs Batman.
Yeah.
This one doesn't. This one, I think, is trying to be more realistic in the sense that it explores mental health, I think,
Yeah.
and what it can do.
I think this film, it wasn't really what anyone thought it was going to be.
No.
Because it's like, for me personally, it was a really uncomfortable watch, because it was...
Yeah.
It seemed real.
Yes. See this scene?
Yeah.
It seemed real. That's what I mean. When
Yeah.
did you see it in the cinema?
No, I didn't. But I watched it on DVD and I was like,
seen it in the
no.
cinema, and I had the exact same experience when this happened. It seemed almost as if I was watching a real, what do you call it, like a talk
Argument
show,
sort of thing,
like
yeah.
a real talk show, and the person just killed someone, and it really shocked me. And no movie ever had this
No.
impact on me. I've never felt like this, and I think that's, if you have the same experience and you're watching it on TV, that must say something, because
It's just because, like, it deals with very real issues.
yeah, it made me really uncomfortable, especially the scene where he murders Randolph, and then, you know, when he
Yeah.
bashes him his head
Yeah.
against the wall.
It's
It's almost as if you're forced to explore the dark side of mental health
Yeah.
that no one wants to talk
No.
about.
which is wrong.
Yeah, but and it almost shows that we don't want to talk about these things, and I think that's what shocked everyone,
Yeah.
because you're forced to do something that we know we should do, but it's really uncomfortable to
Yeah.
do, and this film just excelled at that.
You're serious, aren't you? You're telling us you killed those 3 young men on the subway?
Mm-hmm.
And why should we believe you?
Got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. My life is nothing but a comedy.
Well, let me get this straight. You think that killing those guys is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not. Comedy is subjective, Murray. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much, you decide what's right or wrong the same way that you decide what's funny or not.
Also, what I think is very striking is how it's almost as if he's at his most confident
Yeah.
during the scene. Before that, people laughed at him, and he was kind of self-conscious of that. It's almost as if he right now became the person that he was supposed to be, which is obviously scary.
Like, people were laughing at him instead of
with him,
like what.
And now it's almost as if he's the one in
Yeah.
control, because people are scared of him.
Yeah.
It's what a lot of people do when they cannot get control. They go to the violence, because
Yeah.
that's obviously
That's how
seems
you get
the
people to
easiest
notice
way.
you. Yeah, that's how you get people to notice.
Which and you know, a lot of people, you could make judgments about Joker and say he's evil, and obviously he's not a good person, but I obviously like to kind of think how it must be to be him.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of the film. With other Joker, it's like with Heath Ledger's Joker, obviously everyone knows he's evil, and it's pretty, and even Heath Ledger's Joker knows he's evil. But
Yeah.
here it seems to be more to do with the society and the guy's mental health. It's really hard to talk about it because it's complex, you know.
And then, I hate to keep going back to comics, but in that, the Killing Joke story, he's just a normal failing comedian like this, where he has a wife and he has a child on the way.
Really, I've heard
Yeah.
that Killing Joke is good, but I've
Yeah.
never read it.
And he takes on a job to get extra money as the Red Hood.
So he's just a normal person.
Yeah, he just joined these two people because he used to work at the chemical plant.
Yeah.
And he joins a crew who need him to shut down security. He's wearing the Red Hood costume. But
what's the Red Hood costume like?
It's basic. Have you ever seen the photo of just like the red dome helmet and the red cape and the suit?
I don't think so. We're gonna put it on the screen for anyone that.
Yeah. That's just the cause the Red Hood. That's just like a gang of people, but they always it's a different person always wearing that, and he's only doing this to get money for his wife and child.
So he joins this this association or this gang or whatever
but
it is.
The sad thing is, right before the job, his wife and child were killed
by the opposing team, or
no? I think it was an accident.
Oh right.
But his wife and unborn child died. He wanted to back out the job. It was too late. While in the job, Batman appears, accidentally knocks him down into the vat of chemicals, which turns him into the Joker. And all that trauma led to him going insane and becoming evil.
So it seems that this is almost similar to this interpretation because it's almost as if the world did him wrong.
Yeah.
And it turned him evil. Which is interesting. Wait, did you read The Killing Joke, or is it just?
I've seen the movie, but I do have.
Oh wait, there's a movie.
Yeah, there's an animated movie.
Or like right.
And I do actually have the graphic novel. In my house.
I've heard good things about it.
That whole storyline is about Joker proving that all it takes is one bad day to drive even the sanest man insane.
Didn't he say that?
Yeah, that's why he crippled. Well, he was meant to kill Barbara Gordon to drive Commissioner Gordon insane. But it didn't work.
Yeah, that's interesting. How there's a more psychological twist to The Killing Joke and this Joker.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might understand that you did this to start a movement, to become a symbol.
Come on, Murray. Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful. Everybody is awful these days. It's enough to make anyone crazy.
Okay, so that's it. You're crazy. That's your defense for killing 3 young men?
No. They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Oh, why is everybody so upset about these guys? If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me. But these guys, what, because Thomas Wayne cried about them on TV?
You have a problem?
I think that's also, it kind of forces us to see that we as a society obviously value different people more.
Yeah.
Like, it's true that if he just starved to death there and he was, like most people would pass him. I mean, in America is a busy place. People would just walk by. And have you heard of like I forgot what it was called. It was like the bypasser effect or something, where if someone does something, all the other people do it. So if you ignore, if you see that someone's in help, you'll be like, oh, someone else can help him, and you walk away.
Yeah.
And then everyone else thinks someone else can do it, and no one ends up doing
Isn't that
it.
like very similar to something we done in college, where one person started doing something and we all had to do it?
Yeah, that's similar.
It's that idea. Like, and it's also a fair point because you will see loads of people just walking past someone that needs help.
Yeah.
It
But
happens all the time.
the thing is, when I don't have money on me, I hate to walk past
Yeah.
them because I know that they will look at me and they'll ask me for money.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with them. It's that I know that I should help them,
Yeah.
but I can't, and you have to face it. And I think
Also with that, there's
It's
the people
important.
that are genuinely homeless and need help, then just the people that want it for drugs, and you can't
Yeah.
differentiate. So you try to be wary. But yeah, I've always felt awful about that because I rarely ever carry my wallet on me when I
yeah,
go out because I know
or I just
don't
have like money on my credit card.
Yeah.
But the thing with those people that are addicted and they're homeless, I think it's terrible for them because like they only get a small amount of money from the street, and it will not be enough to get them start them a better life. It will be enough to get them drugs.
Yeah.
And most of them are addicted, and
It's
I
just
still
a
think
cycle.
it's important. I still think it's important to give them a chance, even if they
Yeah.
are addicted, because maybe they will get through. You
Yeah.
never know. Okay, let's go.
Problem with Thomas Wayne.
Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever actually leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other. Nobody's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be somebody but themselves? They don't. They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild.
You finished? I mean, there's so much self-pity, Arthur. You sound like you're making excuses for killing those young men. Not everybody, and I'll tell you this, not everyone is awful.
You're awful.
And
Me?
that's obviously the transition. I think.
Yeah.
I think so. He was supposed to like the
Yeah, I believe-
theory. Is that like a theory
No, I believe
Or
that
is
is
it
actually what was meant to
gonna
happen.
happen?
Like his intention, because he says earlier he has nothing left to lose.
Oh yeah.
That
And his life is a
indicates-
comedy.
Yeah, that indicates that's him just getting ready to end it. But then when Murray starts
When he-
combating that,
Yeah, and he pretty much they almost like spark up this rage inside of him.
yeah,
Before that, I think he believed he was the victim, and now it's
Yeah.
almost as if they're the victim. And I think he now realizes and enjoys this power that he
Yeah.
has. You know the last scene where he stands on the car
yeah.
and everyone's like cheering. I think that's obviously a powerful scene as well.
Like if you just look at this pause image that we've got here, I
That's-
can
yeah.
sense the rage on that.
That's like one of the most remembered snapshots as well from the scene,
Yeah,
because you can just see like disgust and anger for Murray, because Murray made fun of him obviously.
twice now.
Yeah, and I think he's also maybe envious of Murray because Murray obviously has
He's
this rich
successful.
life. He's always in a studio, like he said. He doesn't see what happens outside.
He hasn't had to go through the struggles.
I'm awful? Oh, yeah? How am I awful?
Playing my video. Inviting me on the show. You just wanted to make fun of me. You're just like the rest of them.
You don't know the first thing about me, pal. Look what happened because of what you did, what it led to. There were riots out there. 2 policemen are in critical condition. You're laughing. You're laughing. Someone was killed today because of what you did.
I know. How about another joke, Murray?
No, I think we've had enough of your jokes.
What do you get
I don't think so.
when you cross
I think
a
we're
mentally
done
ill
with your
loner
jokes.
with
That's
a
it.
society that abandons him and treats him like
Call
trash?
the police,
I'll
Gene.
tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve.
Also, one thing that I've noticed that I think is powerful, before he killed Murray, his legs were crossed.
Yeah,
It was almost like he was still closing himself off, and now it's like he has full command of his
but
life.
if you also notice, he's shaking his leg, which indicates
Yeah.
he's nervous. He never intended to do that.
Yeah,
Everything's
that's
went
true.
off plan.
But that's obviously that's really a powerful scene. I mean,
It is.
they're leaning away from
Yeah.
him. Murray's obviously dead. He's in the middle of this, obviously almost neutral and very confident.
Yeah.
And obviously he is nervous because he wasn't intending to do that. There's so much insanity in this scene after he kills Murray. But I don't know what's about it, but it's almost as if... See when he shoots him the second time?
Yeah. I think that's just letting more rage out, to be honest.
The first time, I think the first time was purely to do with rage, and the second time was almost as if he was trying to prove something, but he didn't have to shoot the second round, right? He already knew what was happening. It's almost as if it was there only to reinforce his strength and power.
Then he does that sort of dance, which to be honest, I see as more of a nervous tick.
Yeah,
like he's trying to calm himself down.
Because he always did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
To calm himself down.
He's just killed his idol.
Yeah, and the person.
Yeah.
Which he did before, but...
He's idolised Murray for God knows how long.
It was almost like a part of his life, wasn't it? And he wanted Murray to be his dad or something. I remember when he had this fantasy or this dream.
And then he thought that Thomas Wayne was his dad, which he wasn't. So this man's entire life is just crumbled underneath him. Because he also found out everything about his mum.
Oh, yeah. So wasn't his... Was that... Because I need to remember...
I think it was his mum
someone was
lied.
beating him. But wasn't he abused as a child by her boyfriend? Or...
Yeah.
And so was... And so was he adopted in the end?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good performance.
Good night. And always remember, that's...
Breaking news. Popular TV talk show host Murray Franklin.
Yeah, I mean... So, we already said about this, but how could we flesh out maybe the differences between Heath Ledger and him? So, I think, obviously, the first one is that Heath Ledger always felt like he was... like he was the villain.
Yeah.
Like he was the person on top of the world.
He knew...
And he killed people very easily, you know, at the bank robbery scene.
Then when he kills the mob boss and makes a joke out of it.
Yeah, with the pencil. Yeah, he had no hesitation at all. There was no nervousness in him. He was very sure of what he was doing. Whereas Joaquin Phoenix one is completely different. And yeah, it really his performance really hits hard because a part of this Joker is a part of him I think everyone can relate to him.
Yeah.
Obviously, not everyone would do something like he did, but small parts of him I think.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the scene shocked everyone so much. Also, obviously, like we discussed, he's not dependent on Batman. He doesn't. But I like how they did at the end of the scene in the alleyway where Batman's parents get shot.
So he directly leads to that. It's actually, I've just realised it's actually a swap on Joker's origin normally.
Is it?
Joker created Batman in this universe, where in the normal one, Batman creates Joker.
So in this one, he creates.
Yeah, because he leads to the movement which gets his parents killed.
Yeah, he created a movement as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So, because of Arthur, the Waynes are killed, which then creates Batman.
Is that how it happened in the normal one, original?
In the normal comics and that, it's just some random thug that shoots.
Oh yeah.
The Waynes. Then Batman, during that break-in at Ace Chemicals, drops Joker into the vat of acid. It's also the same as in the 1989 movie.
So here it's Joker that hates Batman, and here it's Batman that will hate Joker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it makes so much more sense, and I wouldn't never believe that a director that did comedies would ever create something like this. It's almost, I mean, I think he said the reason I think he stopped making comedies is because of political correctness or something.
Yeah.
How people no longer, I mean, there are comedies out there that you would never get away with doing now because of
I'm surprised there's one that I saw recently
Which one?
that did get away with it. Jojo Rabbit.
I still need to see it. Everyone.
It's quite literally a film about a German boy in the certain gentleman's youth,
And doesn't.
whose best friend
Is Hitler.
is
Yeah.
trying to stay away from that one, forgetting that we're not actually monetized on YouTube, so they can't do anything.
Yeah, but
yeah, his best friend, his imaginary friend, is Adolf Hitler. Like, how did they get away with that in 2019?
I know.
There's a scene where Heil Hitler is used like 20 times.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's confusing how it get away with that.
I don't know if political correctness is the right thing, though. I know we're now talking about cinema and film, but because obviously you shouldn't just create film just for the sake of doing something like Hail Hitler, but obviously if it has a deeper meaning, I think people should be able to do it. But then didn't Joker kind of get criticized because of it? Because he still created a film that was controversial, I think. And
because people were like, oh, it's glorifying violence and just saying, go for
which
it.
Which it didn't.
It wasn't.
There was nothing about it that made me, he's cool. Like, Heath Ledger's Joker was a bit bad, as in cool.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't.
Yeah. But Joaquin Phoenix Joker, there was nothing like cool about it, you know.
No,
it was almost terrifying.
Yeah, because with the way it's presented, that could happen to anyone.
And similar things have happened. I mean, if you look at, a lot of the people that have committed like mass shootings or school shootings, most of them were insane.
And they were bullied.
Yeah, they had very big psychological problems, and obviously that doesn't justify what they did, but it's something that led up to them doing what they did.
Of course, they're responsible for the action, but the feeling wasn't entirely their fault.
Yeah, the feelings weren't, and I think it's good that people are confronted with it, because hopefully one day we're gonna treat mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're doing a good job right now. I think we're talking obviously more openly about it than we did like 20 years ago or something.
But there's certain things about the way we're dealing with it that don't work.
Yeah.
Like certain helplines are only open certain times of the day.
Yeah.
And even at that, if you're feeling depressed or that, people will just be like, have you tried taking a warm bath or something?
Yeah.
Like, that's genuine advice.
The problem is much bigger than
Yeah.
wanting to take a warm bath, obviously. And usually it's a lot of people that have mental health issues, they're usually a bunch of different things placed on a heap, and as you start obviously taking them away, you realize you get to the core of the problem, but it can be a very complex problem. With Joker, I think he never felt loved, you know.
Yeah.
He always wanted to be accepted by society, but he never was. And see that, so was she imaginary, the girl that he met? Because I don't remember.
In Joker?
Yeah.
No, but she was real, but the relationship he imagined.
Yeah. So again, he wanted to find love or something. He never found that.
I think it's because she smiled at him once
and he
But to be honest, there's theories out there where it says that none of that film could be correct because it's Arthur's it could be his imagination.
Yeah, so now that gets very deep, obviously.
Yeah, which is what I like about a film. If it leaves you speculating this much later,
that's a good film.
It is.
I mean, a film that just is good and then the ending puts into a box. That's a film you'll forget, but this isn't.
Like, if you look at The Dark Knight Rises, that ending leaves you wanting to see more because it's got...
I haven't seen that in a while. How did it end?
Because Batman flies the bomb out of the water, it blows up. Everyone assumes Bruce Wayne and Batman are dead, but Alfred sees him somewhere else.
Oh, right.
And it's revealed that he fixed the autopilot.
And I think that ending makes it much better than now doing another Batman and finishing it. I think that's more powerful.
And it leaves the cop character that's been sort of a side character throughout the whole film. It reveals his first name is actually Robin, and he explores the Batcave. So that could have made whole different other films, and it makes you want to see what happens afterwards.
But I don't think Christopher Nolan's thinking he did say he wants to make a horror movie though, and he's
I'd
never
watch
done
that.
that.
That sounds like it'd be really good.
Yeah, because so many horror movies now are just not really good. I mean,
See, I like horror movies, right? But it's jump scare, jump scare, jump
Yeah.
scare, CGI.
they're only
Monster,
there
jump
to
scare.
have a jump scare now.
Yeah.
But I would say the best horror movies, and you could include slashers if you want, but the best horror movies.
They're all very cliched though.
Yeah. So, what would you say is the best horror movie that isn't a slasher that you've seen? Like Hereditary, Conjuring. I would say pretty scared me pretty much.
Would you count The Shining as a slasher?
See, I don't think it's that much of a slasher because in a slasher movie, the whole purpose
Yeah.
of a film is to
The
have
whole thing
a
is
guy
one
that
person.
kills someone.
Yeah.
The Shining wasn't like that
Yeah,
really.
so I would say that.
Did you see it? The Shining.
Yeah.
It was good, wasn't it?
It's just a shame that Stephen King hates it. He hates the
The
film.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I think.
He
Does-
hates how they done it.
But didn't Stanley Kubrick almost mentally kind of abuse their lead
that's-
role? Which isn't good, but it made a very convincing
Yeah.
movie, let's be honest.
And then, because Stephen King wrote Doctor Sleep to spite that film.
To what?
To spite the film. Because there's certain things that happen in the film that don't happen in the book.
Oh, right.
Like certain characters die that don't die in the book.
Yeah.
So then he creates the sequel, Doctor Sleep, which
And
has
they've made...
which has the characters come back.
All right.
And then they made the film starring Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
which I hope they liked more.
Yeah.
One
And-
thing I don't like is how horror movies are looked down on in society. Like,
I think it's because a lot of people think... I think it's because they have a bad reputation because there are a lot of horror movies that
Yeah.
didn't do a good job.
and there's horror movies that are just gore.
Yeah.
Just it's the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
That's really bloody and gory. And I hate to say it, but the Friday the 13th franchise, that's really graphic kills in that. For really no reason.
You know, I think it's alright for them to be there because at least, you know, someone might enjoy
Yeah.
them, but the thing is that there's no bigger meaning in them, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like,
most
that's one
of
thing I
them.
like about the Halloween franchise. There's always a clear story.
Yeah, clear
like,
story.
At the time, for the first one, going into the second one, it was revealed that the final girl, Laurie Strode, was Michael Myers' younger sister. And that's why he was trying to kill her.
Yes, there's...
And then they done this weird thing where they wanted to make it an anthology series. So they took Michael Myers out of Halloween 3, so we don't talk about that.
Okay.
That's a different thing altogether. Where it's revealed that the main villain steals a bit of Stonehenge, and it's never revealed how.
How many are there of the Halloween? Because I've only seen the first one and the remake.
There's the first one, the second one, the third one. We don't talk about that.
Okay.
Then there's Halloween 4, 5, 6.
Oh, geez. And is it... But it's not the same actor playing
No.
Michael Myers, is it? Do you have a favourite?
I don't really know any of the actors. Probably the one that done it in the first film.
Yeah,
Nick
the first
Castle.
one was alright, yeah.
But yeah, there's Halloween 6, which is the Curse of Michael Myers. Then we go into a new timeline because they done this cult thing throughout the whole thing, from 4 to 6. No one really liked it. The sixth one had Paul Rudd in it.
Oh, right,
Paul Rudd,
but yeah.
And one of his first acting.
The guy
professional
that
acting
plays
jobs.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, him, yeah.
And then you get Halloween H2O, which takes place 20 years after
I
the first
think,
one.
yeah, I've heard of that one.
Which has Laurie Strode come back, who hasn't been in it since Halloween 2.
And she's also in the remake, isn't she?
And then you get the sequel to that, which is Halloween Resurrection.
Mm.
We don't talk about that either.
Is that a bad one?
Yeah. Then there's Rob Zombie's 2 Halloween films. They're very grungy,
Oh.
as you would imagine with the name Rob Zombie. Who I'm pretty sure he does music,
Oh, wow.
and then he became a director. And then there's Halloween 2018. Then there's going to be Halloween Kills that comes out this week.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's a shame that it's 18 because we cannot watch it.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
If
I mean...
the next one releases after next year, we'll be able to see it because it's a new trilogy.
Oh, so there will be a next one after that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's...
And then there's also the difficulty of trying to maintain the mask
Yeah.
because it was just William Shatner.
No.
Have you ever seen Star Trek? He played Captain Kirk.
I never really watched Star Trek. I know it's a
Neither
shame,
did
but-
I, to be honest. But William Shatner, it's just a Captain Kirk mask that was
Alright.
painted white, had the sideburns removed, and had the eye holes widened.
Oh, right.
And for some reason, it's impossible to recreate.
Is
And-
it?
I mean, in the second one, it was the same mask, but it looks completely different. Like, I'll show you the photos, and if you want, you can edit them in.
Yeah.
In Halloween 2, it looks like very different because it'd been warped through different things, and the actor playing him at that point, his face was wider.
So is that a good thing, or
I mean, that's what it looked like in the film.
that's the new one?
This was the second one, which was
Alright.
1980 odd, and it was the same mask as the first film, but because of different things, it looks completely different.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, you can see more of his eyes, which you couldn't in the first one. And then also later I'll show you the different films' masks, which are...
What about the new Michael Myers, the Halloween, the mask that he had was... I mean, I think it looked alright.
This one did, yeah. Because it was actually...
Because let's be fair, they could have really messed up quite easily
Yeah.
because you have to make it look very similar.
And I think they've
And-
done a brilliant job there.
And it's not even the same, it's different because
Yeah.
it's obviously...
Because obviously they did have a bigger budget.
Very one, yeah.
And the team looked into how latex decays and that, because it's a latex mask.
Yeah. To
And-
get it perfect.
Yeah, and it's even got continuity things, like in the first film he's stabbed in the neck with a knitting needle, and
Mm.
the hole was in that mask. So.
Oh, right. That's smart, yeah.
And then the new one, half of the face is burnt, because I saw it in the trailer, because he was literally trapped in a burning building. So yeah.
Anyway, guys, I think we could wrap it up now.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this, then there's probably going to be more videos coming out. So yeah.